Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Take a look at this. Icy, depressing, cold. This is what we've been living. But soon it will be like this. That's right, spring is coming. And with spring comes warmer weather, green landscapes, and fresh fragrances. And we're talking fresh fragrances today, guys. 10 different fresh fragrances that are ultra safe. You can wear these anywhere, anytime. They're people pleasers, easy to wear. Beginner mode, but beginner mode in the best of ways. Why am I whispering? Everything I talked to you about here today, all the fragrances will be linked down below in the description. And also, I'm gonna do a little giveaway. See that? A little peep right there. What do we get started with? How about this? This is from Issey Miyake and it is Le Sel DC. This one came out and it didn't make too much noise, I gotta say. Basically, it was released and everybody shrugged and went, that's nice, and on to the next thing. But this is definitely something that you should know about. At discounters, it's not too expensive, even though it's a newer release, came out just last year, unless you're watching this in like 2028. And then it came out 4 years ago. And it's done by Quentin Bish, a very popular perfumer nowadays who's done such fragrances as Ganymede and also just about all of those Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances that have been coming out here lately. And the Kenzo Homme line, the new Kenzo Homme line. Have to specify, because there's gonna be one old head out there who's like, not my Kenzo Homme, back in my day, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to you. It's a salty, fresh fragrance with a good pop of ginger off the top, gives it this nice zingy opening, a little touch of sweetness. There's also vetiver in here along with cedar as well. It's got pretty solid performance for a fragrance of this style, and it is definitely a Quentin Bish release. And by that I mean, if you're familiar with fragrances like the Kenzo Homme line or Ganymede that I mentioned just a second ago, you're gonna be able to pick up bits and pieces of those fragrances in this one right here. As I said, very fresh, clean, zingy, a little bit sweet, and something that, even though it has similarities to those two scents that I mentioned, stands out against most other things available right now, at least that are being widely worn. So it gives you something ever so slightly different while still being very safe. Next up, let's go with Luna Rossa from Prada, the original Luna Rossa, which now has yet another new packaging bottle style, presentation style. That would have been, yeah, it should have just said presentation style. Because when this originally came out, it had this kind of like cage style to the bottle. So it had like a little metal like grating here almost. And then they switched to this style right here with the like stainless steel look going on. And they have changed it again, but they say that the fragrance has stayed the same. And Luna Rossa, even though it's been out for a while, going on 13 years now, kind of gets overlooked. Because when people think about Prada Luna Rossa, they think Luna Rossa Black, they think Luna Rossa Carbon, they think Luna Rossa Ocean. But ain't nobody showing no love to the original. Come on, you get a little love over here. I mean, they kept it around, they've not killed it off, so I mean, it's doing something right, I guess. In terms of notes, this one has bitter orange along with lavender, a bit of mint, clary sage, and ambroxan. And it gives you a different feel from most other fresh fragrances out there nowadays. Like this one has a nice, classy edge to it while still being very easily worn. It doesn't come across as a formal fragrance, but you could wear it as one if you wanted to. It's not too sweet, it's nicely aromatic. It's got a little touch of that like Prada soapiness to it, but not overly powdery or anything. Like I said, still very fresh, easy to wear, and a surprisingly good compliment puller that can be worn by pretty much any age range. Older guys can pull this off and younger as well. And it also has a nice mint bite, where if you wear this in fall or winter when it's a little bit colder outside, has this nice icy aspect to it as well. Let's go Dior Homme Cologne up next. I really need to get a new bottle of Dior Homme Cologne. You know, the new bottle style. It does look a little bit slicker than this older one here. No breakdown wise, this one is really simplified. You have citrus, you have grapefruit blossom, you have musk. That's it. And to be frank, the performance is not the greatest. Yeah, it's leaving a little bit to be desired, we could say. But that's okay, because it's a really fresh summertime, spring and summertime fragrance that nobody's gonna dislike. So if you wanted to, Load yourself down. 15 sprays, 20 sprays, 50 sprays, who cares? Go crazy with it. Maybe actually don't do 50 sprays. I feel like that's just a little bit too much. That could be detrimental to your health. But yeah, go crazy with it. Yeah, who cares? It's extremely fresh, sweet, icy. Actually gets compared to the smell of an iced lemonade to an extent when you first spray the fragrance on, even though bergamot technically is the citrus off the top, but who cares? A bergamotinade. Bergamotinade? Yeah, bergamotinade. Now with this being a Dior, it's not gonna be the cheapest thing that we talk about here today, even at discounters. Now, there are alternatives. For example, Jimmy Choo Man Ice is a bit similar to this one, and it's way cheaper. And then for a time, there was also Mercedes-Benz Cologne, which was a really good alternative to this one that I think is pretty much impossible to find nowadays. But if you find it, it's real good. And while this one lacks a little bit of performance in terms of being a safe, fresh fragrance that is extremely appealing, one of the best. Now, as I said, guys, pretty expensive. It's a Christian Dior. There are some other expensive ones to come that are kind of on the same level as this one, but there's some cheaper ones too. And I do wish there was something that could be done to lower that price a little bit more. That's right, coupons! Jesus. Yeah, here are some coupons right here. The JOMASHOP ones only work within the app, so be aware of that. They change every couple months or so. Max Aroma has skedaddled one of our codes, the 20% off one, but that's okay because we still have the 10% off code, then the perfume box, Frag Flex, and more. All right, let's go cheap with the next one. Varvatos Artisan Pure. Now, just because it's cheap in terms of price does not mean it's cheap in terms of smell. Artisan Pure, to my taste, is one of the better bang for your buck summertime fragrances, spring and summer, that you can pick up. You have citrus, woods, petitgrain as well. Very fresh, green, sweet, easy wearing scent. To me, it's a perfect scent for early spring when everything starts to open back up. You know, everything starts to turn green again, flowers start blooming, because it has this green aspect to it along the edges of the fragrance that's very fresh, almost like water spritzed to an extent. Then you also have that citrus, actually a multitude of citruses here that are not like sharp, they're not bitter, but they're also not overly synthetically sweet either. So for the price, you get a fragrance that has some great natural tendencies to it, but is still a very wearable, clean scent at the end of the day that pretty much everybody's gonna like. Because sometimes when you go with a fragrance that has like some notes that lean more natural smelling, it can be an issue. Like a fragrance that I absolutely adore, Light Blue Forever, and also Light Blue Italian Love, by Dolce & Gabbana. Those have a really natural smelling citrus off the top when you first spray them on, but that citrus doesn't work for everybody because it has like a rindy aspect to it, this rindiness, a little bit of a sour aspect going along with the fresh sweet pop from the citrus, and some people just despise that, just don't like it at all. This one, not gonna give you those issues. Let's go next, Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre, solely because it does have an opening with the citrus that is a little bit more similar to what I just mentioned, Light Blue Forever, Light Blue Italian Love. Now don't worry, it is not as intense as the citrus in those, but there is a citron note when you first spray this on that does have a little bit of that rindy aspect going on. Oh, it's fantastic. To me, it almost smells like a gin cocktail or something when you first spray this on, at least if you use your imagination a little bit, because it has that bite to it, that little bit of bite, you know, like this aromatic zing on the tip of your nose, along with that citrus that has like a competing rindy but very fresh aspects. And then as it dries down, you have a nice woodiness, a very fresh, clean, stripped down woodiness, which keeps it firmly masculine but still very easy to wear. And as I have said a few times in the past, when this fragrance came out, it actually won Fragrance of the Year by the Fragrance Foundation as part of the Fragrance Foundation Awards, the FFA. I don't know if anybody actually calls them that. I'm assuming somebody does. And it did beat out one of my fragrances over here, Terra Nova. It made it to the finals. I'll take it. I'll take it. Those are the fragrances that I creatively directed right there. These are the casualties of my current trying to come up with new fragrances thing. There are many more. These are just some of the tombstones that you can see on camera. You tried hard, you tried hard. But yeah, I'm creatively directing 2 more fragrances that are gonna come out at every Perfumania and fragrance outlet store in the country. But for now, you can find Terra Nova, Jet Black Enigma, West Loop, Edgewater, and South Slope at every one of those stores. But we still lost to this one. So Eau Givre, fresh, yes. Easy to wear, yes. Safe, yes. A little bit unique compared to the really popular scents out there. Yes. Since we did Dior Homme Cologne, I feel like we gotta do Chanel Allure Homme Sport Cologne. Because in my head, Allure Homme Sport Cologne is in eternal war with Dior Homme Cologne. And maybe Dior Homme Cologne is a little bit more well-known. That may be so. But Allure Homme Sport Cologne, just as good. And actually they're decently similar to each other also. I think Allure Homme Sport Cologne has a little bit more oomph to it, just as far as the overall scent structure, performance, and everything else. It does have a much busier note breakdown. This one, like I said, was really simple. This one is not. It's got a bunch of citrus, so just about every major kind that you can think of. There's grapefruit, orange, bergamot, and lemon. There's also neroli, a little bit of spices, some woody notes like vetiver and cedar, tonka, musk, and even kind of an ozonic feel in the opening. Compared directly to Dior Homme Cologne, as I said, it smells pretty similar, but Allure Homme Sport Cologne, maybe a little bit sweeter. Like I said, a little heavier, just a little bit more going on. And while it is extremely fresh, I would say between the two, probably Dior Homme Cologne, slightly fresher if you're going for just like maximal freshness. And where would we be without this? Acqua di Gio. This is the new version of Acqua di Gio. It is the Eau de Toilette. So kind of like the old school ADG, given the new modern makeover, a new fresh coat of paint, and a slightly changed bottle. They gave it a gradient. I like gradients. Therefore, I like this. I do like Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette though. I think the stuff very, very easy to wear, always has been. That's why it's one of the best-selling men's fragrances of all time. So, I mean, if you are looking for something a little bit more under the radar, it ain't that. The new iteration, the new version, is obviously modernized, not quite so floral as the old Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette used to be. A little bit greener, a little bit sweeter as well, which kind of pulls it more in line to what the Acqua di Gio line has become, what with, you know, Acqua di Gio Profondo, Acqua di Gio Parfum, stuff like that. And even though it has been changed up and some people may dislike that, it's not, you know, a massive, enormous change from what it used to be to now. It's changed, yes, but it's like, you know, tweaks and paint touch-ups to make it more modern to what people are really looking for nowadays. And it works really well, obviously. Huge compliment puller, always has been. Let's go something a little bit different, a little bit classier, a little bit more mature with the next one. Bottega Veneta Illusione. So at discounters, depending on where you shop, this is gonna be right around 70 bucks. You may be able to find it for a little bit less than that, depending on where you're shopping. Also depending on if you can find like a tester or something like that, but roughly in that range. So note breakdown wise, it's not crazy complex. There is bitter orange here, lemon, fir resin, cedar, vetiver, and tonka. And as I said, this is a little bit more grown up, a little bit more mature, not something that's really sweet or anything like that. This one comes across more woodsy, more herbal, more of an aromatic green scent profile to it with that citrus that's in there, giving it a little additional freshness when you first spray the fragrance on. It does smell very high-end, very buttoned up. You could easily wear this in a more formal situation during spring, during summer. One issue with this fragrance, or potential issue, depending on how you approach it, the projection, a little weak. Now, when it comes to fresher stuff, which apparently means bottles that are silver, white, or clear, but when it comes to fresher stuff, you do expect it not to be quite as strong. Like if you're talking about something for middle of winter or late fall, something that's got notes like oud, leather, tobacco, labdanum, stuff like that, you expect it to be pretty strong, right? But when you're talking fresher fragrances that have a lot of citrus or white florals, stuff like that, you're probably not expecting it to be quite as strong as that other stuff. That being said, this is still a little below average even for that type of scent in terms of how it pushes, how it projects. So if you're wanting something a little bit more subtle, that is, like I said, very classy, a little more buttoned up, a little more mature, then this will work extremely well for you. If you don't want that, look at one of the others. Something newer up next, Michael Kors Pour Homme, which you should not confuse with Michael Myers Pour Homme, which is a new fragrance coming out this October. That's not true. Unless it does come out, and then I called it. I called it right now. Nostradamus. I almost said something else. Nostradamus. So Michael Kors Pour Homme, this is one that didn't really do it for everybody. Some people not a fan of this chain link bottle. You know, it's not quite Paco Rabanne levels, but it's not super far away. At least it gets your attention, for better or worse. But you see, the thing is here with Michael Kors is they used to have some really good stuff. They had a couple of tobacco fragrances, or more specifically, the first one was tobacco. The second one I don't think had tobacco listed as a note. But it smelled pretty similar, so it was like, yeah, close enough, whatever. And those ones, real good, really nice. For people that knew, those were some top-notch designer tobacco fragrances. Then they did a whole bunch of extreme fragrances. I don't know who came up with that idea, but they are probably working at Wendy's now. Shout out to you, extreme man, because their whole idea basically was like, okay, check it out. We're Michael Kors, right? We're Michael Kors, okay? What are we known for, bros? Extreme! Right? We're like Red Bull, okay? We are the Red Bull of women's purses and men's shirts that you find at TJ Maxx. That is us. And so every fragrance they came out with was extreme something. Extreme speed. Like, no offense, Michael Kors, but you're trying to sell me extreme speed. What how does this doesn't work, man. Now, if Ferrari came and they came out with extreme speed, maybe I buy it, okay? I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Michael Kors, what are you doing? Somebody over there. So yeah, they didn't work. Go figure. And they came out with this. And honestly, I get it. Nice atomizer. Because in my mind, Michael Kors should be putting things out that are trying to compete with like Coach in the fragrance world, right? Like it would make sense for Michael Kors to kind of come out with things that are selling at a similar level to Coach for men and all those ones, all the flankers. But in order to do that, they have to have a line to release fragrances in. Obviously, the extreme ones weren't working out, so they were like, well, let's try something else. And they came out with this. Now, as it stands today, I would like to see the price on that drop a bit more at discounters. Because where it's at right this moment, like in the $70 to $80 range, a lot of people are gonna think that's too expensive for a new Michael Kors, even with the tacky bottle. But I think that price drops down a little bit more, again, kind of coming close to in line with the Coach for Men fragrances. Now we're talking. At that price point, I think people can get a lot of use out of this. It smells similar to Invictus, kind of in that style, in that wheelhouse. So it's got bergamot and lavender, along with aquatic notes, geranium, sage, pink pepper, ambergris, patchouli, and vetiver as far as the note breakdown goes. And while it's not a direct one-to-one with Invictus, it does smell like there is, like I said, that Invictus kind of style permeating through the fragrance, maybe even a little touch of Coach for Men in here. The Y line, there's a lot of different fragrances where you could say, oh, this reminds me a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it makes sense because they needed to come out with something that's safe, that's easy to wear, that's going to be a compliment puller, that people want to purchase, use the bottle and purchase again. So they needed to come out with something that could do that instead of coming out with something that's like really crazy unique and they swing for the fences and then strike out. Nobody likes it. And then they're back to square one. They got a fragrance line nobody likes. And then they come out with a flanker and everyone goes, nah, I remember the first one, it wasn't wearable. So they're definitely going for like just your average person who wants something easy to wear, that's a compliment puller, that's fresh and easy. And that's what this is. All right, last but not least, Ferragamo Acqua Essenziale Blue. Ooh, I forgot the giveaway. We'll do that after this. So this one is cheap. One of the cheapest ones here, and it's done by Alberto Marias. Does that matter? No, I don't know why I just said that. So this one is one of the cheapest ones here. It's really affordable, pretty much always has been ever since it came out. I mean, really, like this came out, and not long after you were finding the whole Aqua Sentiale line at TJ Maxx. It's like the 5th time I brought TJ Maxx up this video. TJ Maxx, send me a check. They're like, best we can do is $5 of store credit. You can go and buy some candy that we have at the store. Knock yourself out. But yeah, this line right here, it hit discounters like that. Discounters and rack stores. It was like, oh, it's out. Oh, it's at, oh, that was quick. You just brought it directly from Macy's and just dropped it right off at TJ Maxx. Dang. All right. Note-wise, it's got lemon, bergamot, cardamom, lavender, cedar tonka, and broxin. And this is a bit of a different fresh fragrance compared to most all these other ones right here, because this one is more, like it says on the front, a blue fragrance, but it is still very fresh. What switches it up though is it has this underlying kind of a warmth that cuts through, nice sweetness as well, and almost like a hint of incense that kind of wafts through as well as it starts to dry down. Some people have compared it to smelling kind of similar to Versace's Still in Blue, which would make sense, done by the same perfumer. So being kind of in that style is something that, like I said 3 seconds ago, would make sense. That's a good way with words right there. So Aqua Sentiale Blue, if you want a blue freshie, but you don't want to spend too much, check it out. I think it is time now for the giveaway. And here is the fragrance. Drum roll, please. Aha! Tricked you, no drum roll. I counteracted the drum roll. It is M. Mikulov's Gin Tonic, or depending on how you want to say it, GN Tonic. I've heard both ways. So this is one that I purchased to give away a while ago and never got around to doing it. So now you get one, whoever wins. I figured this was a good one for the video because it is a, it won't come out. I haven't removed it from the little thingy before. So it was kind of wedged down in there. But yeah, this is one that works really well for spring and summer. Obviously it has a gin tonic kind of scent profile to it. Very, very fresh and a great scent for when it's warm out. See if I can, oh, nice. So to be entered in that giveaway for that little fragrance right there, that one right there, this one, this exact fragrance right here, this one right here. All you have to do is the usual Gem Jam. Gotta leave a comment. If there's no comment, then I can't choose the comment with random comment picker. You can't win. If there's no comment, you can't win. That's like your lottery ticket. Just let me know what freshie you're looking forward to wearing this year. Can be anything, whatever you like. Can even be SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't care. Even though I know you're joking, you're not actually wearing that. I know you're not. But yeah, just let me know that. Like the video, be subscribed to the channel, and here in a couple weeks, I will pick a winner with random comment picker, put it up on the community tab of the YouTube channel. If you're the winner, hit me up and I will ship that out to you. Just one fragrance this time. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I cannot wait for it to be nice weather again. Take care of yourselves, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.